Hi, my name is Karl Nova. I'm a hip-hop artist, performance poet, and I'm an author. And I'm very happy to take part once more in the Bradford Lit Fest. I was there last year in the main hall in Bradford. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a beautiful time. And I also got to visit some schools as well as part of the whole festival. So I'm very happy to have these few moments to share with you. Now, what I'll be talking about today is how I even got started doing this, because honestly, when I was a kid, this was not the first plan. When I was a child, what I wanted to be was a footballer first, just like any other kid. But as time went on, I went on from wanting to be a football player, then I wanted to be a scientist, then I wanted to be a computer scientist, and then I wanted to be a broadcaster. So that's why I ended up studying in university. I wanted to be a TV presenter and a radio presenter, and I did do a bit of that, but I have always wanted to be an artist or a creative person in some way. So I'm going to share with you my story. Now, this is my first book ever. This is called Rhythm and Poetry. And as you can see, there's a gold sticker there. Much to my surprise, in 2018, it won a Clipper Poetry Prize. So out of thousands of people in the country, my book got chosen for this honor, to my surprise, because I didn't even know there were awards for books like mine. But I'll get to that in a minute. So, how did I even get started in the first place? Now, a couple of things I want you to understand. When I was in school, I never did poetry ever. I never had a poetry lesson. I never even read a poem like that. The only poetry I was exposed to in school was nursery rhymes. You know, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, which actually doesn't make sense, because twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, it's a star, bruv. You've just said it's a star. But anyway, twinkle, little star, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, all these things that we learnt in lower school, like nursery school or year one or whatever. But after that, never ever learnt or did poetry, never had an author visit my school, never was exposed to poetry. Now, I was born in London, and I did my first years of schooling in a place called Haverhill in Suffolk. So even though I was born in London, my mother took me to live in Haverhill, and I went to a school called Burton End, which thankfully I got to visit again this year for the first time since I was a child. So I never did poetry there. Now, part of my schooling as well, from year 3 up, I got to go to school in Nigeria because I had to go and live with my father there. And there, no poetry. Poetry wasn't a big deal. So what happened? Everything changed for me when I met my cousin for the first time. My older cousin, much more taller and wiser than me, muscular guy. He is the guy that played me rap music for the first time. And I was like, what is this? What kind of thing is this? Why are they talking over the music? And he explained to me rap is the new thing, and it is an acronym. So you know what an acronym is, when you have a group of letters and it stands for something. If I ask you what does LOL stand for, you tell me laugh out loud. If I ask you what does RIP stand for, you tell me rest in peace. If I ask you what does the BBC stand for, you say British Broadcasting Corporation. Hopefully, not a lot of people know it. But now he told me the word rap doesn't just mean to rap and all of that, that it actually stands for rhythm and poetry. And I'm like, what? Rap is rhythm and poetry. Are you trying to tell me all these things this guy is saying, Eminem and Jay-Z and all these people is poetry? And he was like, yes. And that's where the name of my book comes from. So what I want to do now is share with you a poem. This is the first poem in this book. and it's called poetry with a question mark. Because a lot of people don't look at rap as poetry. But for me, this is how I learned about poetry at all. And it goes like this. When I was a kid, poetry seemed boring. Complex words on a page that almost left me snoring. I felt no connection, the language seemed foreign. If it fought for my attention, it was pointless warring. I was introduced to texts held in high esteem. I did recognize the genius, but it meant nothing to me. But all that changed when I heard an MC speak a poetic language that really went deep. It's like I woke up from being fast asleep. Everything seemed to slow down. And I felt my soul leap. I was amazed how his words transformed him. From being a skinny geek into someone enormous. He gained energy as he kept performing. Something was awakened in me so dormant. It deeply moved me to pick up a pen, to put down lines of my own, many gems I discovered hidden deep in my soul. I dug deeper, struck oil, and found gold. Now I'm sharing all these riches that I found, communicating feelings and thoughts through sound. Now that's poetry I'm glad that I've found, the kind that speaks to me right here, right now. And that is called poetry. So, for me, this discovery of rap music made me love it. Because not only did my cousin play me this music, it almost became like school. Whenever he would come around, you know, with his big muscular chest and walk into the house, so tall, like he was 6'7", and think about it, I was this little kid. I was like only 9. He would say, come here. And he would play music. And one day he said, bring out a piece of paper. We're going to write raps together. And I'm like, what? Cool. So we brought out the piece of paper. I put on some music and we started writing together. So picture this tall, muscular guy with this little kid writing raps. And as we're writing, he'll be like, that's a metaphor. And I'm like, a metaphor? I learned that in school. A metaphor is like when you use, you know, a figurative language in a direct way, you know. He is a lion amongst men. She is a star. She is a flower. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, use that. Now, one time he'd be like, okay, in this verse, I want you to use a simile. And I'm like, a simile? Is this like English lessons? I thought we were writing raps. And it's like, no, these are the ingredients that make your writing better. And I was like, So he said, put a simile in there. So I was like, okay, I write as fast as a cheetah. And when I spit my rhymes, I'll make you a believer. And he was like, yeah, that's it. And he'd be like, all right, I want you to try some personification. And I'm like, seriously? Personification? And he was like, don't you know what personification is? And I was like, of course I know what personification is. That's when you personify an inanimate object and give it human qualities. And it was like, very good, write that. And I'll write something. The chair sat in the middle, in the living room, standing or sitting firm and strong. And it's like, yeah, that's good. Keep going. And he'll be like, all right, so we're going to add some onomatopoeia. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, add some onomatopoeia. Don't you know what it is? And I'm like, of course I know what onomatopoeia is. That's when a word is a sound, like bang, boom, crash, slap, drip. He's like, add that. And I'm like, cool, and I'll add that. And that's how I fell in love with writing raps and poetry. Now, he had to travel far away. So after a while, my cousin moved to Holland and I didn't see him for a very long time. But I kept writing and hiding it under my bed. Nobody really knew what I was doing. Now, I had some very talented friends who were very musical and who made me know I was musical, because I didn't even know I was musical like that. They made me know I could sing. They made me know I could harmonize. And one day we were playing this game called the Cypher Game. The Cypher Game is when you sit in a circle or stand in a circle and everybody starts adding instruments to somebody's beatboxing. So somebody might start with a beatbox like, and your job is to add something when it's your turn. So somebody might add a bass line. Doom, doom, boom, 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 boom. Somebody might add a trumpet. Somebody might add a violin. And all of that. One day we were playing this game and it got to my turn and they had taken all the instruments. So I didn't know what to add. And they were like, Karl, the time's going, add something. So from nowhere, I just started rapping a rap I had written that they did not know I had written. And when they heard it, they were like, yo, you're sick. You're good, bruv. And I was like, I'm not sick. I'm very well, thank you. No, you're sick. You can actually rap for real. And from then, we would do talent shows and things like that. So that encouraged me further in my writing. And I kept writing and writing and writing. Now, I don't know how it is for you. Some of you might hear the word poetry and it's like, oh, poetry, boring, boring. But for me, poetry is alive. It's one of the most alive things to me. So I want to do this next poem for you. And this is called True Colors. I want you to count how many colors there are in this verse. If you could answer the right question, let me know. I don't know, through your teacher, through somebody, let me know who can get the right answer. So this is called True Colors. All right? Goes like this. Oh, if I say a color more than once, only count it once, okay? So if I say blue, 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 don't count it more than once, all right? Yeah? Here we go. This is called True Colors. It ain't always black or white, sometimes there's gray area. This makes some folks blue and feel life is scarier. I don't mind gray area cause see I am colorful, not just because of my brown skin so wonderful. I was sipping orange juice watching the color purple. The sun hung in the sky like a gold circle. This is a stolen moment, call me a bandit. You've caught me in the act, you caught me red-handed. I was contemplating on how I could make some green when a song from Pink came on my TV screen. My mind drifted. I thought of the Indigo O2 when I was at an award show and trouble brewed. Violence broke out by a crowd that was swept into the female loo with a blonde and brunette. Their faces were pale and they were scared to death, but my thoughts so crystal clear as I held my breath. I escaped and I saw some crimson splashes on the shirt of this guy who had caught some slashes. So many things are fake like false eyelashes, but I see your true colors in glimpses and flashes. True colors. If you were able to count how many colors and get the right number, I don't know, you're going to have to try to let me know somehow. And this goes for teachers as well, because sometimes teachers get the wrong answer. So let me know if you get the right answer. Another suggestion is you could try and write a poem of your own using as many colors as possible, because colors can be like metaphors for things. If I said to you, hey man, I'm feeling blue today, you would understand I'm saying I'm sad. If I said, oh my gosh, the sun is, I'm feeling red hot right now, you would understand probably I'm saying I'm feeling angry. If I said, oh, he doesn't really know anything, he's quite green, that is a way of saying somebody is not very experienced about something, or it doesn't really know about something. It's an old expression. So colors can signify things. If I said the color purple, I could be talking about a film called The Color Purple, or I could be talking about royalty, because purple is a color of royalty, at least in the Roman Empire. All right, cool. So that's true colors. Now, one of the reasons why I love poetry so much, one of the things it does for me is it helps me make sense of the world. Sometimes the world seems like it is crazy. What is going on? Like right now, looking at how the year has gone so far, you might start saying to yourself, what is going on with the world? We've been on lockdown, coronavirus, and now people are out on the streets protesting for human rights because of violence and things like that. What's going on? So one of the things that poetry, or at least for me personally, it helped me make sense of the world. Now think about it. I was born in London and I was taken to Nigeria at a young age So all I knew was my mother and living in Haverhill and going to school. And then from nowhere, you go to Africa and you're in Africa and it's hot. And you're wondering, what am I doing here? And I'm meeting my dad for the first time and I'm discovering this whole new life, and things are different in Nigeria, you know? The schooling is much more strict. I'm trying to make sense of my life. Writing helped me make sense. Sometimes when I'm feeling sad, I'll go and write and it'll make me feel happy. So that's one thing about poetry. It can help you make sense of what's going on. It can make you happy. So I want to share with you this poem called A to Z. Now, there are different styles of poetry, okay? I'm sure by now you must know what a haiku is. In case you don't know what a haiku is a 3-line poem where the first line has 5 syllables, the second line has 7 syllables, and the third line has 5 syllables. It doesn't have to rhyme, and that style of poetry came out of Japan. So that's a style of poetry. Or remember acrostic poetry, where you have a word like orange and spell it vertically and use each letter of the word to start a line of a poem. That's a style of poetry. One day I was at home and I was bored and I thought to myself, I'm going to write an acrostic poem. Not only am I going to write an acrostic poem, I'm going to make it hard for myself. So I'm going to do A to Z vertically. And not only that, I'm going to make, so let's say A. I'll make every line in the A line be an A word. And then B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z. Now, when I got to X, for some reason, I forgot all the cool X words to use. I forgot about words like X-ray, simple words like that, or X Factor, or Xbox, or, you know, let's get more technical, xenophobia, or xylem. You know what I mean? I forgot that. But the rest was pretty decent. So this was the outcome of this poem. By the way, this is my mother's favorite verse of mine. Even though I wrote a verse for her called For You in this book, she likes this one best. I'm like, Mum, how about the one I wrote for you? It's called For You. She's like, yeah, that's nice, but I like A to Z. So it goes like this, A to Z. Almost always ambitious and attentive, boldly building, brilliantly, barely bending, concentrating carefully, climbing constantly, determination defeats doubt daringly, expecting excellence, expending energy, fighting for fantastic futures fairly, go-getters grasp golden goals, hope helps, heavy hearts hold, intentions inside, inspiring incredibly, jokers jest, jumping joyfully, kindness keeps, kinships kindled, laughter lifts loads large and little, music makes moments memorable, never neglect news notable, opportunities occur, observe often, perseverance produces profit. Quickly question questionable quotes. Recognize remarkable routes and roads. Stories shared. Shape society. Tell the truth today totally. Usually understandings underrated. Vibrant, verbalized. Viewpoints are venerated. Wealthy, wise words won't wear out. Xavier's xylophone had silence X'd out. Yes, youngsters, yesterday's youth, zealously and zestfully zoomed. A to Z, done. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, so that's A to Z. And that was just me bored at home. And that's another thing about poetry. One of the reasons why people write is boredom. Sometimes you're just bored. Many of the greatest poems that have ever been written definitely came out of a man or a woman somewhere bored. So if you're bored, write poetry. In fact, I've traveled across this country as well as internationally, Cyprus, Turkey, China, Mongolia, Switzerland, Germany, Luxembourg, and the rest of them. And one of the common things I have discovered from young people is that they be like, one day, yeah, I was bored and I just decided to write a poem. And I was like, why did you decide to do that? You could have gone out for a walk. You could have gone play football. You could have played some video games. You could have watched TV. You could have done anything. You could have gone on TikTok. You could have done anything. How come you decided to write a poem? And they're like, I don't know. I just had these words bubbling in my mind, in my heart, and I decided to write a poem. And I say the same to you. If you are bored and you don't know what to do, write a poem. You could even write a poem about being bored. Because I've had many people say, I wrote a poem about being bored. I wrote a poem about being hungry. I wrote a poem about my dog, my pet. You could do the same thing, because poetry can be about anything. In this book of mine, I have poems I've written about being chased by a dog. I've had a poem I wrote about being pushed in a puddle. That actually happened in school. When I was in year 3 or 2 or something, I was standing by a puddle and somebody actually pushed me in a puddle. So I have poetry about that. I have poetry about slipping and falling on my face. One time I was walking on Oxford Street in London at Christmas time, you know, and everybody was doing their Christmas shopping and it was very cold. And I had on a new jacket, I think it was purple. And the ground was slippery and I was walking in a cool way. I thought I was so cool. I was just walking like this. Just walking, and as I was about to take the next step, I cannot explain how I missed my step. It's like the ground disappeared, and then the ground slapped me in the face because I was bang on the floor like boom. And when I was writing this book, I decided to write about it, and it became a poem called Winter Fall. The poem about being chased by a dog is called The Chase. I'm going to actually do it right now because I totally forgot about it. So it goes like this. Woke up in the morning and I felt so good. Went for a walk in my neighborhood. Thought to myself, I'll go see my friend. Looked at my watch, it was 10:15. Now, it was early because it was the weekend. Pulled out my phone, a text message I decided to send. He sent me one back saying, cool, see you later. I just knew this good day would be greater. I got to his house and opened the front gate. And what I saw made my heart to race. With the vicious-looking dog, I was face to face. My feet followed my heart with the quick pace. I ran, and while running, I looked back. This dog was chasing me like we were running track. I didn't even know that I could run this fast. I felt like flash or like lightning as I dashed. Now, this all happened in a few seconds, but it felt like forever, though the time I wasn't checking. I escaped and was soaking with sweat and kept wondering, when did my friend get a new pet? And that is called The Chase. Because poetry can be about anything, even rap poetry. Now, a very important thing I have to say. Even though in the poetry that I write, I use a lot of rhyming, always remember, poetry does not have to rhyme for it to be poetry. But if it is a rap type of poetry, it has to rhyme, okay? Although I have to say though, I remember when I was younger, I used to rap with this, my friend, and he would write raps where they didn't have rhymes. And I'm like, bro, you've just written a whole verse and it's not rhyming. But the way he would say the words, it made it work. So I guess in some very strange cases, you can have rap verses that don't necessarily rhyme as much. But I will say, if you're writing a rap verse, you've got to make it rhyme. Okay, now for me, music and poetry come together because rap music is one of the strangest things. You have one part of it that is, to me, in the world of poetry. And then you have another part that's in the world of music. So I make my own music, I make my beats myself and write the words. Now, sometimes I just write for it to be a poem in a book or a poem that I would just share without music. But a lot of times I write rap songs. I have songs you can find out. If you look for me on YouTube, all you have to do is type in my name, Karl Nova, on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, you know, everywhere you get your music, you can find music and music videos from me. But it doesn't always have to have music. So for me, everything converges together. Sometimes I write a verse without music, without planning to ever record it with music. Sometimes I write with music. So I think what I want to do in closing is share a song. Now, when I started going into schools, because I've been doing this for a while, I've gone into primary schools, secondary schools, colleges, universities, all over the UK and around the world. This was one of the first things I wrote to do this. This is called I'm Gonna Make It. Now, I wrote this because the main message I feel I have through my poetry and my raps and my work is to encourage you to be the best you can be. I want you to know you can make it, that you can be the best you can be, no matter what anybody says, no matter where you are from, no matter how old you are. If I could be before you right now as a hip-hop artist, performance poet, and an award-winning author, I truly believe if you set your mind to something, you can be that. Actually, before I do this song, let me do this one poem. I got a call one day from the Premier League who asked me to write a poem on ambition that they've used in their competition. So actually, if you go on my website, karlnovaworld.com, you can find the link to the poem I did. But I'm just going to do it right now. Then I'm going to do something with music, and then it's going to be bye-bye. So this is what I wrote for them. This is called Beautiful Ambition. It goes like this. Listen, I'm not just daydreaming and wishing, I'm bursting with ambition. Thirsting, I drank wisdom, poured out in Nan's kitchen. She fed me hope, and that expands vision. I saw many possibilities, and I planned thinking. I thought so big, I saw the future winking, showing me what is possible, and my eyes glisten. Inside belief has risen, though I have fallen due to hard collisions. Hard collisions with obstacles made my goals seem so impossible. Those who can't see themselves shining talk less of you, will likely be mocking you. But if they make fun of you, just keep running through the field of dreams. See them coming true. Take steps with ambition burning in your chest. Work hard and be prepared for what's next. Hold on, press on, and be strong, filled with beautiful ambition. Yes. All right. Now I want to share with you this song. So this is going to be with music. All right. So this is a song. You can find this online. This is called I'm Gonna Make It. The words of it are also in this book as well, Rhythm and Poetry. By the way, if you want to get a copy of this, you can go to karlnovaworld.com and order, and I will post it to you, a signed copy right here from my house to yours. All right. So this is called I'm Gonna Make It, all right? So I made this music for it. So you have to actually join in. I'm gonna make it. That's your part. I'm gonna make it. Success, I will take it. Success, I will take it. So listen, don't let anyone ever tell you you cannot make it. Dream big, success is there for you to take it. Certain people you see, all they do is fake it. They claim that they've made it. They claim they're the greatest, but don't watch them. You stay focused, because if you lose focus, you will be hopeless. Never be afraid to dream or think big. Believe in yourself and you can't achieve it. Just believe it, see yourself reach it, and keep your dreams safe just like a secret. Always stay cool when things get heated, and no matter what you won't be defeated. Life is like a mission to be completed, with great importance it must be treated. So inhale success, deeply breathe it. Just like air in your lungs, you need it. Now say I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Success, I will take it. Success, I will take it. Say I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Success, I will take it. Success, I will take it. Don't let anyone ever tell you you cannot make it. Dream big, success is there for you to take it. It is your birthright. I'm speaking of greatness. Some lack love for self, and that's why there's hatred. Don't give in to peer pressure and follow the crowd. You were born to be a leader, so learn to walk it out. Life is like school, so you better learn your lessons. Pass your exams, because there'll be time you're tested. this message I send like a text. What's next? I always tweet, cause tweets are the cousins of text. My Facebook pages are inspirational. The handwriting on the wall is so readable. My face ain't poker face like the lady who had the world going gaga like a baby. My expression is clear for you to see and hear. And like a cotton bud, I will clean out your ear, saying I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Success, I will take it. Success, I will take it. Now say I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Success, I will take it. Success, I will take it. Don't let anyone ever tell you you cannot make it. Dream big, success is there for you to take it. Success is sweet, I know you like to taste it. It tastes better than Mickey D's and Nando's, that's basic. Sometimes you might fall short like a dwarf or a midget, but after that stand tall. People might laugh at you and say that you're silly, but don't pay attention to them when they're chilly, giving you the cold shoulder, they try to hurt you. Sometimes friends, yeah, they might desert you. When that happens, just brush your shoulders up, keep your head up and square your shoulders up. And no matter what happens or what people say, you were born to be somebody, born to be great. You are whatever you think in your heart. So shine bright like the star that you are, saying I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. They say I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Success, I will take it. Success, I will take it. I say I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. Success, I will take it. Success, I will take it. And that's it. That's all. That's it. That's all. And that's it. So, this has been a great time, I hope. I hope you are able to get something out of this. In closing, I have a couple of questions for you. Number one, what stands out the most to you from what you've heard? What will you remember from this? How did this make you feel? Will you remember that rap, the word rap, not only just means to rap, but it's also an acronym for rhythm and poetry, which is the name of my book. And lastly, will you write poetry on your own? Try it for yourself, not because your teacher told you to do it or anyone, but because you felt like it. You just never know where that will lead you to. My name is Karl Nova. I would like to thank the Bradford Lit Fest for letting me to do this. If you're looking for information on me, just go to karlnovaworld.com where you can order this book, karlnovaworld.com. You can find me on all the social media. Just type in my name, Karl Nova. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best, especially in this time that we are in. Thank you so much.